In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a banner for YouTube or any social media platform using Adobe Photoshop and a little bit of AI. Okay, so maybe you just started a YouTube channel or you've had a YouTube channel for a while and you're coming to the realization that it would be nice to have a nice banner that shows up there on the top of your YouTube page. So in this tutorial, what I'm going to show you how to do is to take a very narrow cropped portrait photo and take it and expand it so that it fills any size all the way up to YouTube's gigantic banner size. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this YouTube banner template that I have created, and I will leave a link below so that you can download this for free, because this makes it a little bit easier when you're working within Photoshop to be able to get all the guides correct, right? So if you see here, I've got this little squared off set of guides in the middle, and this is like the minimum size that the banner needs to be contained within, right? So like mobile devices or smaller screens, it's going to be within this area. For wider screens, it's probably going to go all the way out to a little bit beyond these guides here. So it's going to go all the way out to the edge of the canvas. And then you've got all of this space over here. And this is essentially for TVs. So YouTube wants this whole size, but for most devices, particularly laptops, desktops, phones, they're going to fit within this area here. So you as the creator, you're left with a little bit of a difficult situation. So I've got this picture I've downloaded off of Pexels, which has a bunch of free photos. And so this would be a pretty typical example of what you would see for a portrait photograph, right? It's going to be portrait orientation. Centered is, you know, the person's face. And then you have like no space outside on the left and the right. And for a lot of us, this is what we have to work with. Particularly if you're working with a photographer and they're only going to give you limited sizes. Unless that photographer is using a really wide lens and or standing very far away from you, there's probably not going to be a lot of background to work with. So what we're going to do here in this video is we're going to take this photo and we're going to work it so that we have a bunch of background that's generated around the subject. So some of the older like 90s and early 2000 movies you would see is like surveillance footage somebody was looking at, and there'd be like a person over their shoulder and they'd say, you know, zoom in and enhance.
His glasses.
There's a reflection.
The problem is that was always kind of a fictional thing built into Hollywood. That's not reality. You can't create pixels, right? Your footage or your video or your image is only as good as how it was originally captured. You can't create material. But with this trick, we're actually creating material. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so here is essentially how we would probably like this to be cropped, right? We would like to start out with, how do we want this person to appear within here? So what I'm going to end up doing by the end of this tutorial is I'm going to add in text around it, because for most banners that's going to make sense. But you'll be able to see how you can use this for far more than, you know, just a banner. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my original photo, and what I want to do is I want to get the crop tool. And once I have the crop tool selected, what I want to do is expand the canvas, holding down Option on a Mac. I'm not quite sure what it is on a PC, but I just want to make this gigantic, right? I want to make this about as big as I want the maximum size of this photograph to be, so that I have plenty to work with. So we'll go ahead and do that, hit enter. Actually, there's one thing that I want to do first, and that is, let's go ahead and just duplicate this. There we go. We'll just go ahead and trash the original. And the reason is just so that I have this on a transparent background. This works a little bit better when we are doing the cropping. Okay, so we'll switch to the crop tool, hold down Option so that it expands from the middle. And I think this looks about good right here. We'll go a little bit bigger so that we have plenty to work with. Okay, so the next thing we're going to start doing is we are going to start working with the generative fill. So first I'll hit enter so that I actually accept the new size of the canvas. And what we're going to do is we're just going to grab the select tool or the marquee tool, M on the keyboard. And so what we're going to start doing is we're going to include a portion of the photo, right, that we want to use as kind of a reference point. And then we want to expand this box outside of our photo. So what we're doing here is we're providing a little bit of context and then we're making it bigger. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click Generative Fill and click Generate. And this is going to take a few moments, but what it's going to do, it's going to take the data that we provided to it and it is going to try to expand that outside of the photo. It's actually creating material. So you see it actually added to this area. Now you might be wondering, would it be nice if I could just kind of like, you know, select a huge portion and then build from there? You can, but it's going to start doing some pretty funky stuff if you do that. So let's go ahead and start on this side. Don't want to really get the person in here. So let's go like this. We'll go a little bit further out. Generative Fill, Generate. And there you go. As you can see, it's just kind of created some more material here. But one of the great things about this is you don't have to just kind of let it decide what to do. You can actually give it some direction. And when I do this, typically I've found that providing it a little bit more context of what it's working with helps make this process a little bit better. So let's say Generative Fill, let's say we want a gravel walkway. And let's just see what it does. Sometimes it does a really good job and then other times it doesn't. So it's just kind of a matter of experimenting, going piece by piece, and just kind of allowing it to do its thing. So that's pretty good. I actually kind of like that. It's done a pretty good job. It's not really gravel per se, or maybe it is, but it did a pretty good job. So if you don't like that, you can just kind of Control Z, Generative Fill, and let's just say dirt walkway. Maybe we want something that's a little bit more natural looking. I don't really want it to look quite as man-made. I want it to look a little bit more like a naturally developed path that's going through the grass or through the autumn leaves. So there you go. That's a completely different direction that just kind of looks like a dirt road. So which works. As you can see, you can just keep manipulating this over and over again until you have a look and feel that you're after. Let's go ahead and expand this a little bit further. I'm going to give it lots of context so that I can, you know, go a little bit further over. I'm not going to give it anything specific. Just know that when you are starting to add specifics into your prompts, you come into a situation where it can get a little bit wonkier. So you just want to make sure you're very particular with what you're telling it to do. Okay, so that was a little bit weird. It kind of ate up a little bit of our gravel road. So what that tells me is I probably provided it a little bit too much context. Generative Fill, Generate. So let's go ahead and try that one more time. Okay, so there we go. Kind of like that. It's wide open, it's out in the country, and there's so many different directions this could have gone, but since we're just kind of building on top of something we already have, we can just kind of either go with it or backtrack. We can undo that, but I kind of like the direction this is going, so we'll just kind of keep going at it, keep clicking the Generative Fill, generating, and just keep going as long as we like what it is creating. Okay, so it did a pretty good job there. But what you can do at any point in time is you'll notice that there's a nice little mask that's been applied to this. So each of these Generative Fill items that we create, you can move around individually. And because they are masked, you can actually go in here with a brush and you can blend them a little bit better if you want to. So say maybe this wasn't quite blended as well as we wanted. Give it a little bit of a touch up, and then there you go. So the next thing we're going to do, and this is going to be a little bit trickier when you're working with a person, it's going to try to do its best. However, sometimes it kind of does its own thing. We're running into the challenge here that essentially we need to create more of the person, right? And so what this is probably going to do is override a little bit of the dress or the shirt that she has. So that could be a problem in some cases. In some cases, maybe it's not a big deal, but it's just going to have to do a lot of guesswork since this is a person it's working with. And, you know, people are a little bit trickier to reproduce than our, you know, landscape. So there you go. It completely changed her outfit. That might work in some cases. In some cases, it probably doesn't. We don't want a random like blue parka. So let's go ahead and give this one more try, see what it does. So you can try to specify something here, but yeah, so it did create something, but you know, the hand's kind of awkward, not really holding this properly. So let's go ahead and try this. This is, you're kind of seeing in this video where the experimentation kind of comes in. So let's try giving it more context. Sometimes giving it more helps, sometimes giving it less. Okay, so what I'm going to try here is just giving even a little bit less context. So I'm going to provide the context of her hand, but I'm going to give a little bit less. Sometimes that actually helps, but we'll give it a shot and then let's see. If this doesn't turn out, I probably won't have it go quite as far down. I'll do that maybe in 2 steps rather than 1. So that's pretty good. That actually looks nice. It's got her hand in her pocket now. She's wearing a nice like black coat. It fits really well and it looks natural. So that's great. I can work with that. So now what we want to do is we want to take this section and we want to start to expand this out a little bit. So generative fill, generate. And this is actually looking pretty natural. It's actually looking fairly believable in terms of the tone of the background, her face. Did a great job there. So let's go ahead and go. Trying not to touch her coat. That's what we don't want. Generative fill. So you see, this is just a puzzle. You're working piece by piece using the previous piece that you had created or had generated as a building block for the next. So here it's taken a little bit of creative license. And one of the things I'm seeing is that the perspective here doesn't quite fit. So I am going to try that again. And those are the type of things that you have to make a creative decision on when it comes to viewing things. And of course, this doesn't really know because it can't really see this background that's already been created. I think that looks a little bit better. That works a little bit better. It probably could use some feathering right here. Not quite that much feathering. So that'll help. All right, so now we can start expanding upwards a little bit. So let's take maybe this chunk, go up here a little bit. There we go, generate. Doing a good job. Okay, maybe over here randomly, let's take this. Maybe we'll try to make a park bench. And again, this is completely hit or miss. So if this doesn't work, you can keep trying it. But I've noticed whenever you're trying to stick an item in there, it has a hard time sometimes with the perspective and the depth. So we'll just have to see how this works. Yeah, see, it just gave us like a piece of it. So I'm just going to nix that for now. I'm going to take this section and just kind of expand it a little bit. Generative fill. There we go. That looks pretty good. So we'll take this and expand it a little bit more. Very iterative. Okay, so this one, it kind of erased a bit of what we had going on there. So what that tells me is I probably need to do a little bit less expanding. So let's try that. Or better yet, we could just take this portion only and expand it. So let's try that. A lot of trial and error. So it did erase a little bit of what we had there, but I'm okay with it. I can live with it. That piece that was sticking through before was negligible in terms of its importance to the background. So no big deal. Let's just go ahead and continue expanding outwards. And again, you can essentially spend all day trying something, undo, trying something, undo until you get the look that you want. Putting prompts in there too is one way to do it, but prompts, I've noticed that unless you're giving it a lot to work with, can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so that looks good. Let's take this and expand it a little bit. And this is getting a little bit kind of fuzzy and pixelated, which makes sense. It doesn't have much context there, so let's provide it maybe a little bit more context. Try that again. So it looks pretty good. Again, it just kind of ate a lot of what was there, so not too bad. I think what I am actually going to do is try to expand this portion up here only, and not very much. Okay, so it's kind of doing the same thing, which is fine. So let's just keep expanding it upwards. So that looks just fine. So we'll expand this outwards. The other thing you'll notice off here to the right is that they've got these variations that you can use as well. So in my case, the differences between them all are pretty negligible. So most of the time I'm ignoring them. But if you are specifying something, if you're writing out a prompt, it might be helpful for you to, go through those variations or see them as thumbnails if you need them. But like I said, I usually just kind of either nix what I went with originally, I just have it redo it, or keep it. So it's negligible in most cases for me. So that looks pretty good. So we'll fill in this section next. Looking pretty good. So now we just have one more section up here at the top, and it filled that in. So this is a little bit, it didn't have a lot to work with. So this is just kind of like some shrubbery in the background. One thing that you can try is just take a section once you've kind of built it out and you've got kind of your base built, is then you can try popping in a prompt or two and seeing if that works. So let's say maybe we would like a park fountain. And this is going to be very hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And as you can see, it created a gigantic park fountain. So what if we tried about like a park garden. See, essentially what it's doing is it's trying to take the object and just fill the frame with it. Sometimes it does do that, sometimes it doesn't. So it's completely up to what it decides to do. So that made it a little bit awkward. Let's try this. So it looks like it kind of added a bush in there, which I don't really have a problem with it. I think it's fine. I said garden, but that's clearly not a garden, but I think it technically works. See, what we're doing in this video, we're not really necessarily trying to make a gigantic image that we're going to use for everything. We just need to fill space so that our banner actually works. So in my case, and for most of the cases I think you'll probably be using this for, that works just fine. There we go. Filled that in nicely. And we just have one piece remaining. So generative fill, generate. Okay, so we have this all filled in now, and we've got all those different layers that it has created as we've been going through and doing the generative fill. And so what we can do now is, of course, you can sit there till you're blue in the face, making changes to this. But for my purposes, this is actually going to work pretty well. So I'm just going to copy this entire thing. I'm going to paste it in there. I convert things to smart objects, typically because it just, so if you downscale it, you can upscale it again. It maintains the integrity of the image. Let's just go ahead and stick it in there and then position this how we want. So that looks pretty good. But here's kind of our before and after. So as you can see, it has made this very cropped image into something completely new, completely expanded. And so now we're able to not only have our nice banner like we want to have for YouTube, but we've got all this extra space that we can work with. So what we can do here is we can add a new fill layer to the background. And let's say we want to have this maybe feathered a little bit. There we go. So then I can add like a nice little mask and then a gradient. So you don't have to do a full like solid color or anything, but you can just kind of, blend it. I mean, if you're a designer, there's probably a million different ways you could take this, but you're starting to see how this works really well, particularly for filling that extra space that YouTube wants. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add in some text here. Let's go ahead and find a nice typeface. This is just kind of a fictional person with a fictional, let's see, do metrics here. A fictional YouTube channel, but let's see, let's do all caps off. Okay, let's say this person's name is Anna, that works. Add a little bit of copy in there. Let's see, let's change up the typeface for this one. Give that a nice little resize. And then something I like to do, typically with big type when it comes to a person, is just add a nice little mask. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and just grab pen tool. There we go. There we go. So that shows up behind our individual. And there you go. Just that easy. You've got a nice YouTube banner that will crop down to that nice thin size. So essentially this is, if we're to grab our crop tool, we can see a little bit of a better example of what this is going to look like. Hide our guides. So this is what it's going to look like on those smaller monitors. And then if we're to go back to the crop tool, show our guides on bigger screens, it might be something a little bit more like this. But because you have all that extra background, it's now highly dynamic and easy to work with. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So I am providing you a link to that Photoshop file, the blank template I've personally used for YouTube banners that I've created. So you can download that, linked in the description. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to check out Radarist, my productivity tool. You can create a free account, linked in the description as well. And as always, if you found this video useful, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.